Hello there, welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator and Self-Loading Cargo version 1.6, and I just wanted to do a quick video to explain, or try to explain, the delay in the release and basically the workarounds that I'm having to do for this particular simulator as opposed to all of the other simulators. So in Self-Loading Cargo we have this concept of the cabin layout, which is based on the current aircraft that you're flying. In this case we're in the A320neo. And you can see that on our aircraft layout, we've got some doors defined. We've got door 0, we've got door 2, we've got door 3 at the front right. That would be our loading bay. And the one at the back is our catering bay, our catering door, sorry. Now if you've got this self-loading cargo main window, you can see that these doors have actually been picked up. We have two doors on the left hand side. We also have a catering door, and we also have the loading bay at the back. All good there. Now ordinarily you can click on one of the doors to open it, and the simulator will open the door because it knows that, say for instance, door 0 now has a value of 1, which means it's open. Similarly, if you want to close the door, your application can set the value to 0 for that particular door, and the simulator will close the door. However, in Microsoft Flight Simulator, it accepts the command, but then depending on the stage of flight, in this case with the jetway disconnected, it will set it back to 0 because the door has to be closed because the jetway isn't connected. So that means that Self-Loading Cargo can issue the command, but Flight Simulator then turns around and says, no, you'll keep your door closed, you're not allowed to open it without our say so. In every other flight simulator that is not an issue, because you can be stood at a gate without the jetway connected and you can just open the door on the aircraft model and all the passengers can fall on the floor. But Flight Simulator tries to not allow you to do that by keeping the door closed if it is in a state where the door should be closed. Now that gives us problems, because at the moment if I try to open the door, you can see that the door doesn't open immediately, but it will start flashing on the interface, and you can see one of our cabin crew has been assigned to the door, and they're making their way across to the door to try and open it. When they get there, they will open it, but the Flight Simulator will close it. So there you go. So the door was closed immediately by the simulator. No input required from me. Now that's problematic because obviously Self-Loading Cargo can't do any boarding until the door that is simulated within Self-Loading Cargo is actually marked as open. So now that cabin crew member has given up and they're going back into the cabin. However, it does work if you summon the jetway. The jetway will attach, then Flight Simulator will open the door itself, and the cabin crew will make their way on the aircraft layout to mark the self-loading cargo door as being opened, and then happy days, we can start boarding. So I'll just do that right now. Let's do request a jetway connection, and you'll see it start coming across.
Please connect the jetway to the aircraft.
And you'll see door 0 will start flashing when the jetway attaches, and one of the crew will be allocated because they'll detect that the door wants to open. There we go. So she's now been allocated to come across. The door is open in the simulator. If we look at the display, and Self-Loading Cargo has reacted to it. It knows which door is open, and now she'll go and open it. All good. We could start boarding or deboarding. However, if I wanted to close that door, you can see it's marked as open at the moment. If I want to close the door, let's just let her do her thing. She'll go away in a second. There we go. So if I now close the door, she'll try to close it, but the Flight Simulator will keep it open. There we go. Flight Simulator's opened the door again. So she's confused. She's thinking, why won't it work? Why won't it work? And now she's just given up and she's heading back into the aircraft. So to demonstrate that she will actually respond to a close request, I can disconnect the jetway.
Ibiza Brown IB 112 could you please disconnect the jetway from the aircraft?
She's just making her way. Now she's received the door close command and she's going away to close it. There we go, happy days. So it works perfectly if if Microsoft Flight Simulator issues the command. If we issue the command, then Microsoft Flight Simulator refuses to play ball. Every other simulator, P3D, FSX, everything responds as you'd expect. The thing is, Microsoft Flight Simulator is correct because you shouldn't be able to open the door unless there's a jetway connected or a stairway or something. So the thing that I have to do is I have to work around the limitations that we find in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and also make sure that it works with stuff like X-Plane and FSX, because they do work. So that's basically what I'm working on at the moment, is to just make sure that everything is compatible to make it work across simulators, and also make sure that the logic that goes along with the boarding is correct. So if a jetway is connected and the door is open, we can start boarding. But if at some point, that's another thing as well. If Microsoft Flight Simulator decides to disconnect the jetway halfway through boarding, self-loading cargo has to take that into account and try to sort of reissue the command somehow. And that's what I'm trying to work on at the moment. If we just nip outside, you can see this is irrelevant to this part, but it also will respond to the catering and the baggage services. So we can't actually open those doors at the moment. I've got those turned off on the interface. But if we request the catering service, that will open the back door. In fact, that will be that door there. So that'll get a notification that gets opened. So you can see they've opened the door there. Sorry, it's incorrect on this layout, but for the purpose of this it doesn't matter. That door is at the front. It's where it's defined in the layout. We should have it defined at the back, but I'll just need to modify that. But you can see that the door has actually opened. It has actually responded to the simulator, and if I turn that off, they will close the door. So that door's now closed. It's responded to the simulator. And similarly with the baggage service, the aircraft layouts are relevant to this, but the bay here should open. So you can see self-loading cargo is reading the commands from the simulator. It just has to work across simulators, and unfortunately Microsoft Flight Simulator has these issues where it won't allow you to manually specify whether a door or a hatch is opened. It has to be controlled from within the simulator itself until the SimConnect interface is built, which is basically going to be one of the next tasks that I work on, because I think moving forward, I think we have to start thinking of Microsoft Flight Simulator as the future, and I think a SimConnect interface is definitely the way forward. That's not to say that obviously the existing FSU IPC interface won't be supported, but I think this type of thing is just going to become more prevalent, and I think it's important to bear it in mind, and just to make it, rather than focus on backwards compatibility, we have to kind of start looking forward. So that's going to be my next focus across the next few versions, so I don't have to do so many workarounds. But that is where we are at the moment. Self-loading cargo does respond to the commands, it does issue the commands, but it gets overridden. So I'm basically having to make sure that when it gets overridden, it can deal with those overrides and continue its boarding or deboarding, and also at the same time make sure it works with the older simulators who don't have these issues. So thank you for watching. I hope that helps put your mind at rest a little bit and explains a little bit as to why there is a delay. But everything else is seemingly working fine. I'm doing a lot of testing, and we should be good to go very shortly. Fingers crossed. But thank you for watching, and thank you for your patience. I'll be as quick as I can. Thank you.